Hello, it's A-Dam Bankster. And of course, it's Brexit. That's what we're talking about today. Everyone's on the phone to me and say, Adam, what do you think about this breakfast thing? I said, no, it's not breakfast, it's Brexit. And of course, Brexit has really changed things quite substantially, certainly for us British chaps. So now, everyone was on to me saying, what does Brexit actually mean? Well, it means that a lot of us bankers are going to have to do a lot more work, and we're going to have some problems maintaining the type of income that we have. I mean, my boss Nigel is already looking at taking one of the 3 Range Rovers off the road. I mean, it's appalling, it really is. You know, we thought we had this in the bag. We thought that all of our arguments and all of our clever little things would have frightened the hell out of the British people to make them want to remain in Europe, which of course is a whole bunch of 28 countries that don't like British people at all, and British don't really like them either, but that's by the by. But anyway, so what has happened is that all the British old people suddenly got out of bed, stopped making tea and doilies, and actually voted. And we didn't really know that that was going to be the case. We were hoping that all the youngsters, which actually didn't have any reference points to Europe, they didn't know what Germany had done to them, or how the French really thought of them, or any of these things, and we thought that we could scare them into a new future by continuing paying for the Europeans as we are at the present time. So that's what happened. We're really disappointed, a little bit flummoxed, I have to say, with you youngsters, you know. I mean, perhaps you're all partying it up the night before, or going to some disco or something, but you really let the side down. Now, luckily, Mr. Soros is a very clever chap. Yeah, he actually made money either way, so whether we actually stay in Europe, he carries on with all his central banks, or if we left, he bought a lot of gold beforehand. And of course, what happened when the pound fell down that day? The gold went up and Mr. Soros made lots and lots of money. I remember Mr. Soros said to me once, he said, "Who are you?" Which I thought was a very powerful message to me. You know, very empowering. And I think sometimes we have to look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture, because, you see, Europe is a very strange place. There's lots of different countries, lots of different cultures, lots of different languages, and none of them really get on. I mean, let's face it, all of our best wars have been against the French. You know, things like Agincourt and Waterloo, Trafalgar perhaps, and all this type of thing. And of course, we fought 2 major wars against the Germans as well. So we got the French and the Germans, you know, and sometimes it all comes down to who wins. I mean, let's face it, the only French naval victory in the world that there ever was the sinking of the Rainbow Warrior. But anyway, so we've got all of these countries that we're told we must get along with because, you know, we're good old Europeans. Well, see, the British don't really look at that. They don't really see themselves as Europeans. That's why they didn't go for the euro. That's why they held on to the pound, you see, because we're very clever. That is why we had a British Empire. It was the biggest in the world. The sun never set on it because we were so good at doing things and organising things and getting other people to fight our wars for us. That's what the British did. So, now we have this situation where that little bit of channel, that sea, has separated us emotionally, financially, physically, all from the European states. And it's interesting, isn't it, that the first thing that happened is all the other states in the European Union said, well, what about us? Actually, we don't really like Europe either. Because where is this place, Brussels? I mean, all I know about Brussels is Brussels sprouts. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. You know, it's a horrible little place with nothing going on in it, and then they made it really important, you know? So that was really what it was all about. So people have said, well, Adam, we understand this, but how is Britain going to survive? I mean, survive, old chap. We were the biggest empires in the world before Europe came along. You know, we'll survive, I think, quite well. Because, you see, everybody speaks English. It's the international language of business, for instance. It's the international language of the internet. You can't get very far in this world without being able to speak English, you know. So that isn't going to change. Now, when you think of the Germans, I mean, the Germans actually sell more German cars in Britain than they actually do in anywhere else in Europe. So they're not going to say, we're closing the doors, we don't want to sell German cars, our BMWs and our Mercedes and our Audis and our VWs, and we don't want to sell them to British people anymore. And it doesn't help that most of the British cars, like Mini and Jaguar, are all owned by Germans anyway, so that isn't really going to change. And all this euro thing, as in the crash of the euro, well, did you know more euro transactions are made in Britain than all the other countries in Europe put together? So, Britain is a financial powerhouse. We are the powerhouse of Europe, and we are the powerhouse of the world. And because we talk to people in the same language, like America, well, not quite so, because Americans speak American English, which is very, very different to British English, of course, these colonial chaps. But they do understand us. And we have a long trading partnership with Canada and India, which of course we used to own, Australia, which of course we used to own, America, which of course we used to own, and most of Africa, which of course we used to own. So we have all these things, and they're called the Commonwealth, the wealth that is shared commonly. So I think that for the time being, all our little scare tactics are going to have a little bit of an effect. They're going to bring the pound down, which will allow a lot of my banking friends to actually buy lots of pounds, and then when everyone gets over themselves and starts to trade with us again, the pound will go all the way up again and people will make lots of money. And we'll make our own trade deals, so we don't then have to do what people like Luxembourg think, or Romania, or Liechtenstein, or any of these little places which are about as big as Luton, really. So we don't have to do anything like that. You know, all these commissioners, 28, why should we have the same voice as someone like Denmark, or Norway, or something like this, you know? I mean, they really don't matter in the big scheme of things, you know? It's only the British that really matter, of course. So that's how I think it's going to happen, and I think between 6 to 9 months, everyone will get back into trading and back into making money, and Britain will go ahead as it was and as it always shall. You know, the land of hope and glory. So, that is what I think is going to happen, because of course we do have the 4th largest economy in the world on our own, without Europe, and we have a big army as well. So we have a big army so we can beat lots of people up if they don't like it. So that's how it's actually going to be. So with all these things, what I believe now is that everyone will see the writing on the wall. You know, Europeans actually don't like each other. They never have. You know, the French don't like the Germans don't like the Dutch, the Italians don't like really anybody, and the Spanish don't care. So you get all of these different people, and when you try to herd them together like cats, it's really not going to work. So I see that people like Denmark, people like France, when they see that the big boys are leaving the field and taking their ball with them, they too will ask for their own referendum. So you're going to have a Dexit, you're going to have a Frexit, a Gexit, a Grexit, a Nexit, and as we say back here in the old Bank of England, fuck it. Because that's really what's going to happen, is that Europeans are going to fall over. They may be one big state, one big country, put them all together, make it into one big mess. One big country, which will be worth like our country or something lesser. So that's what I think Brexit is. I think Brexit is going to actually bring us back to good Britishness. And, yeah, let's face it, how many people do you know that actually go and work in, you know, Switzerland or, you know, Liechtenstein or Luxembourg? I mean, very few. I mean, who works in Belgium, you know? So I think lots of jobs are going to come to England once they realise that everybody still wants to trade with us because we're nice fellows. That's what will happen. Britain will survive because we're nice. We invented cricket. You know, we invented all the sports that currently we allow other countries to beat us in. So we're very nice people, and I believe that within 6 to 9 months, Britain will be supreme. It will reign supreme, and we'll have lots of new treaties, and we'll have lots of new money, and everyone will forget all of this leave, remain, and all these type of things. We'll have a new Prime Minister, and we'll have a new government. So that's what I think about Brexit. I don't know how my peers are going to think about this, but, you know, this is the word from A-Dam Bankster. So thank you very much for listening, and see you next time. Toodle pip.